What is up, everybody? Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, February the 5th, 2025, Super Bowl week. Couple more days to go. Interesting day of trading today. A very resilient day of just buying since the open to new highs or highs on the day towards the close. A very, very low volume day as recorded through the SPY, less than 30 million shares. So that's typically very low. And also volatility came in by about 2%. So let us first share the doc. There were some big, it's going to be single stock edition today, and there were some single stock movers indeed. Let's get into it here. So pretty kind of a funny image. Some stocks we don't always look at here, but Mattel, Fiserv, and Amgen all jump at least are greater than 7%. Some of those are larger than that. Actually, Mattel, I think we'll get to it, was up more than that. And Uber and Alphabet. This is what I'm sure a lot of folks were looking at, specifically Alphabet, Google, down 7% on higher AI spend and less revenues in the quarter. And that, it could the NASDAQ was down by about 35 bips today, but Google was the big drag, and Meta was going the opposite way as a leader in, XLC in the communication space. So we'll take a look, and these are stocks I don't really look at from time to time. Healthcare is in vogue again. Then we'll look at some of the absolute killers of the week, including Palantir. So let's take a look here first at the intraday. Let us see here. Also, pretty much everyone in my house has had the flu, and I'm feeling it imminent in a minute. I'll probably get it like an hour before kickoff. So bear with me if I'm subdued in this one and going forward if I'm here at all. But okay, so let me pull up the doc here. It's already phasing on me. All right. So first intraday chart, we see that there. So in terms of individual stocks, so NVIDIA had a nice day of 5. Tesla, this one has continued to hurt. This one looks like for a bullish accumulation phase to really get swinging again. Let me just pull this up because I'm long it, and it's been an annoying negative position. I'm not seeing bullishness for this until about mid-February or mid to late February for Tesla, which was down 3.5% today. Google will get to down 7%. AMD, yikes, down 6%. Just ugly. Amazon down 2.5%. Palantir gave back a little bit 2%, but you've seen what it's done. And then Uber down 7%. We'll look at that. So first of all, intraday chart. Like I said, low volume here from the open. They started buying it. We sold off a little bit at 10 a.m. It was a small dip all the way to about 598.5 in SPY, and then quickly we got back to a volume weighted average price, which was 600 here, and then really an impressive hold at 11:30 or the European close, dealing with a 200 bar. That was that black line there, 200 bar average. We actually closed above that and got some skew and slope above volume weighted average price, which was pretty impressive. And that took us to about 11:30, and that was our new floor, that 602.5 in SPY. Pretty impressive, all the way to 604. So we're just less than 2% away, 1.5% away or so from all-time highs. Still, as I see it, my case was that we are in my base case here in the short term is that we are in distribution mode for about till about middle to end of next week, and I see us hovering right around 599. So this was a nice day today, up $2 in the SPY, but I do think we will base and hover right around that 599 level into middle to end of next week. It's honestly as simple as that. And then I do think we will start to march and make a move towards that 610 level again, really. Okay, so let's look at some of these crazy names. If you got a ticker, drop it in the chitty chats. Let me put this here. Okay. So don't look at this name a ton. Obviously, it is earnings season. Mattel, the game makers, up 15%. Let me pull up a 1-year chart here, if this would ever load. Hold on. Looks like my computer might have the flu too. Hold the phony. All right, so Mattel. Bang. On a 1-year. Okay, so this thing is up 15% today. Wow, yes, on earnings, new 52-week high. This thing was basically toeing the line, the 200 moving average since August, and a huge rise today. So in terms of going forward, all these trades I'm looking at have had double-digit movers, all momentum with. You can't argue with the momentum of 52-week high. If you asked me this yesterday, I would have said this is going to spend time around $18 even. Of course, now it catapults from 18 to 21. I wouldn't go chasing. That's why it's tough to do analysis on some of these single stock craziness. You did scratch overbought here. It probably does have a little bit more to go. I don't love the candle in that we did touch 2133, and where did it close? 2084. Not awful. I mean, there's no resistance here. Again, these are crazy stocks. If you guys want to chase these, again, the market cap on Mattel is $6 billion. So not a micro cap by any means, but it can move. I don't know what they reported, but golly, $1.14 versus 95. So they crushed it. I don't know what kids were buying this quarter, but yeah, I don't know. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm too tired. Okay, so that was Mattel. Really, don't have a ton more to say on that. Fiserv, this is a much larger company, and up 7%. That's a huge move. Saying it's starting. Oh golly, Miss Molly. So Fiserv, a much larger company, we all know in the financial services, $120 billion actually is with their size. A huge breakout here to the 52-week high, a nice looking candle here. This trade as high as 231 and it closed at 229.5. This looks nice. I wouldn't chase it right here. This looks like, again, I would have said the 21-day is 210. So there's a lot of confluence here in this area. I do think 210 is going to be your new floor, but that's where I'd rather get an entry. It doesn't look like it's going there anytime soon. So again, these have all run, either today or very recently. So depending on your style, you can continue to chase them or otherwise. So this is an interesting one, the ones we've seen. So Amgen, pretty much a loser profile. 52-week high was back in July, and then really just a really come to Jesus moment here, November 12th. That was the whole Kennedy healthcare confirmation or pick news, and then it went into oversold, and then really to the depths of the lows December 19th. They got all the way to 253. The 200-day moving average has really been just a tank. Just a straight line since mid-October, right at that 305 line. Now it did it. It catapulted all the way from 285 to its 200-day in one session, basically working this huge rally from December 19th. Now what do we do, especially in a sector like healthcare? So, I mean, again, these names are kind of like what I'm saying with the market. I wouldn't be shocked if we get a 1% sell-off, and these are some of the hotter areas. So I think these come back, but the momentum right here is pretty amazing. In terms of the highs, oh God. In terms of the highs here, I would have had a level here for about 287 in terms of, like what it would just do in its typical average true range. And then even a breakout to go to, recent 3-month highs is 300. So it's extended. Let me see what happened here. Earnings, Amgen reported 531 instead of 508. So a nice beat. I think people were expecting the worst. But I don't know. I watch closely the 305 line. It's super, super important in Amgen. And we'll see if it holds above it, how it trades. It traded very nicely today, closing basically at the highs. So lets me know that it kind of wants to make maybe a move towards 312. If that's the case, then yeah, it does have a spot. But this to me looks like the 305 is going to be heavy for Amgen. All right, let's look at the losers. Some of them were dramatic. Uber. I remember someone asking about this recently. I forget if you're. What was it for a long or a short? I'm not sure, but I'll check my notes. What I had recommended. I had said I do not like this name. I said the target was about $69. I thought this was going to be very difficult to toggle with its 200-day moving average, which is at 69.75. We'll call it 70 even. It's basically where my cursor is. It had done that ping pong basically along there several times, as much as just on the 4th. Yesterday, it got above it, and now, of course, they had earnings, and it looks like a miss. And Gaston asked about a long entry last week. Got you, a long entry. And I think I said I don't like it unless it holds. I know what I said. I wouldn't like it unless it holds above 70 for at least a week to 2 weeks, basically. So this isn't shocking. Now what? Again, the 21-day exponential moving average on this is 67 even. Whoops. So right around there. And if things get uglier here, again, not a great looking candle. It traded as low as 63.5. It closed at 64.65. This could get a little bit uglier towards 61.62, but not a great day if you are long Uber. Again, so if the short side down to about 61.5 or so is where my cursor is. I don't see us getting to those December lows of $60. So that's the good news. But basically, range bound between $61 and $70 and $69 essentially for a while. I think Uber's going to have a tough time, it looks like. All right, Google, the big granddaddy of them all today, all the talk of the town. 52-week, just so everyone knows, this thing was at all-time highs yesterday at 207. So just so everyone, gets in line, put some respect on Jalen Hurts' name and on Google's name. So today, down 7%. The goal for this, or target for this, had been right around 210 for me, in my opinion, and this thing got to 207, so just a little bit shy. That is fine. I thought it was going to get a little bit more towards this region. That's fine. Also, just a monster stock. It had a really bad week there in September. But other than that, I mean, look at AMGN here, August 5th. Oversold. That's not solid. And then it was oversold again in September. So not a great stock on its way to its all-time highs. But now what? I see this, not being in vogue for the next 2 weeks or so. But again, range bound between about 184 and 197. So I know that maybe not hugely informative, but I think as best as it gets in the short term would be right around this 197. And I do see us going probably to about 190, hovering around here. And you've got a spike low. It takes you probably to as low as 184. Yeah, exactly. Holding still those December lows. And again, this thing has come from a all-time high yesterday of 207. So give it some grace. And another one, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this one. Let's double check if this is indeed the truth. Yes, FMC down to 33%. I think I've oh man, not feeling strong. FMC, if you guys don't know, is a pretty $7 billion chemical company. They had earnings $1.79 they reported. The estimate was 160, but I guess they gave really nasty guidance or whatever else. But this was shocking. So this a nasty chart. No reason to own this since November, honestly. And then what happens here is the pretty much a nail in the coffin was this earnings report. Yeah, I didn't like the stock yesterday before the earnings. I thought it was going to go from essentially 54 to 50. My downside target was 50, and now we went all the way to 36. So oversold in many regards. Ugly looking candle. They sold all the way down to 34, and it closed at basically 36. Doesn't look good. Could be some more down days ahead, and then maybe just later you get some kind of a mean reversion dead cat bounce to about 52. And I say dead cat bounce instead of mean reversion actually because this is not a strong name, a name you want to be in. Never overbought one day, one day, literally, maybe St. Patty's Day of this past year is when it got overbought in a down regime with a sliding 200-day moving average. So not a name that you want to be involved in. All right, quickly, before I perish. No, top 3 gainers of the past 5 days for all you Momo chasers here. So the best performing stock in the entire market. And I do this with the parameters, again, of liquid volume, at least 1 million shares traded daily, and market cap of at least I think it's at least 500 million. I think I changed it to 1 billion actually. So this one is okay low. The best performing stock in the market this past week, up 40% in the past 5 days, or an average of 8% a day. That's what I did today, up 8%. Absolutely just marvelous. I think this is a little bit stretched, obviously. My upper target was about 45. This thing is volatile, so while it seems it's 10% off, that was something that only eclipsed for the first time over 2 days. So this is an electric utility company, a $6 billion one out of California. For those that don't know, just amazing. The 200-day moving average on this is $15, and then everything changed essentially in mid-October, and that was the new floor for this company. So I don't think they have any revenue. It's pretty marvelous, only overbought. So this is a hot one. Oversold September 3rd on the way to its 52-week low of $5. But from now 5 to 50, a 10 bagger in just 5 months. So absolutely amazing. I wouldn't chase it right here. This looks like a strong name though. If I get a pullback to $34, sometimes it happens in ugly sell-offs. Things up 40% in 5 days. I haven't said it in a while, but trees do not grow to the sky. So congrats if you're in this one. There's others though. So that was an electric utility name. This one, I believe I talked about it like 2 weeks ago. This is a Pelosi name, I believe, Tempus. This one is up 37% over the past 5 days. So almost just as much, almost at 8% a day. This one did up 12% today. These guys do life sciences. They're $10 billion. Excuse me, healthcare tech company. So, similar, we're talking about Amgen being up 7% today. This was up 12. Wouldn't chase it up here. Decent, good looking name here. Overbought. Not a ton of history. Started trading in, June of last year, so less than a year. But if you could get a pullback on this baby to about $51 or something, that would be a nice entry. Again, no, I don't know how likely, because it looks like this thing wants to go to 79. But I think it may be getting tired in the short-ish distance. And then, of course, the monster Palantir. Up 20. Those other ones make Palantir look, calm, but Palantir up 26% from its earnings report, mostly, or an average of 5% a day. Today, it gave back 2%. Let's take a look. We were talking about this like a month ago. I was actually going back and forth with a listener we had called. 84. We were getting picky and saying, I'm calling for back. I'll just do it here since I'll tell a story better. So January the 10th. It was actually part of my webinar, and Palantir was one of my top stock picks. I said this was a great level to get in, anywhere under 73, as I think it's getting to 85. And then the user was messaging me yesterday, obviously after the earnings. It got as high as 107 pre-market, and then today, traded down to it's still holding 100. It's holding 100.6. So an absolute monster. If you traded that one right here, I would give this thing time. It's not going anywhere. This is a $235 billion company on $3 billion revenue. So the PE is absolutely monster. It's just, the math is insane. You're just buying and like snorting growth. So it's absolutely crazy. Hard to buy, but it does go up, similar attributes like Bitcoin. But yeah, this thing, if you get a pullback to about $80, I know it seems crazy because that's $20 away. See if you get a participation in kinds of sell-offs and see what happens. But it's going to be difficult. I don't think you might get $81, maybe 84, 85. Again, the old resistance becomes new support. So Palantir, an absolute monster. Okay, let's look at losers. They are not all winners. Deck. So Deckers Outdoors. These are actually in similar spaces, like consumer-ish. You'll see what I mean. But Deckers down 21% over the past 5 days, or an average of 4% or so a day. Today, average actually bucked the trend up 2%. In case you guys don't know, these are a $25 billion company. I think they make Uggs and all that stuff. The 200 moving average is right here. So a good looking stock. Look at this, almost the opposite of like what natural gas used to be. It gets to the 200-day, they buy it. 200-day, buy it. Only oversold, except recently. Overbought, except recently oversold, and year oversold back in July. So don't love that. So a mixed picture in that regard. But these guys, all-time highs just January 30th. It's 5 days ago. So don't read me wrong here. It's obviously a great looking chart. There's a few honestly that are much better than this. And like I said, the size of 25 billion. It's getting oversold here, literally, technically, and quantitatively. I just think it's still going to be not in vogue. I think this has to correct through time instead of price. My lower target for this, to be frank, was 180 to 185. So I didn't think the 200-day was even going to come in question. So it looks like the drawdown's a bit deeper. That 169 should hold, and it has proven to hold the 200-day. I think it's going to take a while, maybe like 3-4 weeks, but this is going to have a rally back towards 200 or so. So it's going to be tough, though. You're going to have to probably endure another week or so of pain and some dancing along the 200-day, it looks like. And then it'll ultimately make a move towards 200 over time. All right, another one. We were talking about this as well a while back. Estee Lauder, not a good-looking chart. And we talked about it because I'll find it in the notes. Let's go to the notes. So an ugly chart, obviously. This thing's down 20% over the past 5 days, or an average of 4% a day. Today, doing worse than that, down 5%. Not looking good with volume as well today. Just only nothing but oversold. It's really ugly. I actually did overbought, shockingly, on the 30th. But just an ugly chart. Absolutely no reason to own this especially after their May report from last year. Estee Lauder is the personal care, $25 billion company. Hair care, fragrance, all that stuff, but don't like it. I don't know how much lower it goes. I don't like it. Similar to what we just said about Deckers, this is going to be in distribution mode for about another week to 2 weeks. My low is about $70 even, so I don't think it gets horrendously worse than that. And then the dead cat bounce, if you will, would probably pull it up to about 77. So some volatility ahead for this name still up ahead, but I wouldn't get long and chase it. And then the last one, a major cap company, UPS, still reeling from Amazon pulling their contract, and they're saying they're going to do a lot more stuff in house. So UPS, a hideous chart as well. Excuse me, that's not good. This name looks like it's going to be in the penalty box for just a little bit longer. It's up today a little bit. Again, it was down 16% over the past 5 days, or an average of 3% a day. The 52-week low just came on the 3rd. We were oversold. Price confirmation. Yeah, it doesn't look wonderful for the stock. I don't think the bottom falls out from here, though. I think, again, my lower target for this was right around 117. So this is really, the bottom has really fell out. Dead cat bounces will ultimately take you back to about 123 to 125 on this, but that'll come over time too. So the stock market looks good. There's lots of areas that are doing well. The AI trade seems to be back again, depending on what area you're in. Like I said, just the market resilient is the word of the year, past 2 years, 3 years. Oh, well, the other year was bad in 22. But the case in point is just don't be surprised if we get a little give back like I opened the show with. I think we're a little bit elevated. We're going to get back to right around that 600 level. And these stocks kind of confirm that picture as well, to me, in my opinion. Okay, so we will be back on Friday with an end of week to see all this craziness. Ta-ta. That's if I survive.